Welcome to Bad Goodbyes. Each week on our show, we spotlight species from the IUCN Critically Endangered Red List. These are plants and animals with decreasing populations, those nearing the edge of extinction. We'll share species research, information, and conservation proposals, and then we'll spend a chunk of the show opening and holding a space for contemplation and awe. We'll form a kind of improvised meditative sound bath, a soundscape of gentleness, quietude, reflection, and perhaps mourning. There's a very low likelihood that any of these species will survive the 21st century. And so perhaps we might acknowledge their passage with a moment of our attention, a recognition of our kinship, and with a commitment to personal and systemic change. Thank you for listening. On today's show, we consider the red wolf. The red wolf is a critically endangered mammal native to southeastern North America, specifically the coast of North Carolina. Red wolf is a medium-sized canid with a slender build, measuring roughly 5 feet in length and averaging roughly 60 pounds. They stand about 2 feet tall, measured at their shoulder. They have a long, narrow muzzle and a wide head with large pointed ears. Their legs are long and slender with large paws, 4 toes on each hind paw, and then 4 toes on the front paws, plus a dew claw, which is like a vestigial toe located slightly above the paw that aids in traction and for gripping prey. The red wolf has a digitigrade stance, which just means it walks on its toes. This is an adaptation that contributes to highly agile movement. The coat of the red wolf is a mix of colors, primarily brown, beige, grayish-black, with a red tinge, often highlighting the ears, head, and legs. This coloration helps the wolf blend into its habitat. The fur is medium length, providing insulation and protection from the elements. And in winter, the reddish hues become more prominent. They have a medium-sized black nose, and their sense of smell is exceptional, allowing them to detect prey over long distances, identify other pack members, and interpret scent markings left by other wolves. Red wolves typically have yellow or amber-colored eyes, and their vision, while not as specialized as their sense of smell, is well adapted for both daytime and nighttime hunting. They possess good low-light vision and have a wide field of view, enabling them to detect movement in potential prey. They have large ears, like in relation to their head size, and their hearing is acute, capable of picking up faint sounds from prey or other wolves. Red wolves are highly social animals, living in packs that typically consist of a breeding pair and their offspring from multiple generations. Within the pack, there is a defined familial hierarchy, with the breeding pair holding the dominant position, leading the pack in hunting, defending territory, and raising young. The social dynamics of red wolf packs are complex. Cooperation, coordination are essential, and individual wolves will take on different roles in the pack throughout their lifespan. Communication within the pack includes a range of vocalizations, body postures, and scent markings. It's like howling serves as a long-distance communication tool used for territorial display, rallying pack members, and maintaining social bonds. Other vocalizations include barks, whimpers, and growls. Red wolf also rely on nonverbal communication, like nuzzling and licking each other's faces as a sign of affection or in greeting. This is particularly common between breeding pairs and between parents and pups. Similar to domestic dogs, red wolf will wag their tail to express happiness and excitement. And though subtle, red wolves also communicate through facial expressions, such as ear position, twitching their noses, baring their teeth, and narrowing their eyes. Play behavior has been observed in both young and adults, which is thought to reinforce social bonds, establish hierarchy, and to help young wolf practice important skills. Red wolves are monogamous, forming strong pair bonds that generally last a lifetime. Courtship behavior involves play, grooming, and scent marking. And then mating and birthing typically occurs just once a year, mating between January and March, with a roughly 2-month gestation period. So then, giving birth in April or May. Den are carefully selected by the breeding pair, often in secluded areas like hollow logs, burrows, or dense vegetation, providing a safe place for new pups, protection from predators and from the elements. The female then gives birth to a litter of generally 3 to 6 pups, although larger litters of up to 12 have been observed. The newborn pups are blind and deaf, relying entirely on their parents for early nourishment. Both parents play an active role in raising the pups. The male will often bring food back to the den, while the female nurses and cares for the young. But in general, packs are alloparental, meaning that other pack members, usually older siblings from previous litters, also contribute to pup rearing, providing protection, grooming, and play. And so as the pups grow, they begin to explore the surroundings and learn essential skills like hunting and social action from all of the adults in their pack. Red wolves reach sexual maturity around 1 to 2 years old, but they continue to develop physically and socially for several more years. And so in this extended period of development, they'll learn skills for survival, like hunting strategy, and the complex communication and social interaction skills needed to participate in the pack. On average, in the wild, red wolf live for about 8 years. Red wolf are opportunistic carnivores, meaning that their diet adapts to the available prey in their environment. Their primary food source is white-tailed deer. They'll also consume smaller mammals like rabbits, rodents, and raccoons. But they're very adaptable feeders, and their diet will vary seasonally depending on the availability of prey. And they may also even scavenge carrion or consume fruit and berries when other food sources are scarce. Red wolf employ a combination of stealth, speed, and endurance to capture their prey. They often hunt at dawn and dusk, taking advantage of low-light conditions to stalk their prey undetected. And then, working cooperatively as a pack, they can successfully hunt larger animals like the white-tailed deer, which, like a lone wolf, would be unable to subdue. Once a kill is made, the red wolves share the food and will consume the most nutritious parts first, such as the organs and muscle tissue. Historically, the red wolf has occupied a top position in its food chain. The red wolf's native habitat once encompassed a vast area of the southeastern United States, stretching from Texas to the Atlantic coast and as far north as Pennsylvania. Today they are restricted to roughly 250 square miles on the North Carolina coast within the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge. This is like roughly 150 miles east of Raleigh. This is the Mid-Atlantic Coastal Plain bioregion, which is a landscape characterized by low-lying terrain and abundant waterways, including brackish marshes, hardwood swamps, evergreen shrub bogs, and moccasin wetlands. Moccasins are unique to the southeastern U.S. coast. These are shrub-covered wetlands that are perched like atop a sandy rise, forming like a swamp on a hill. This is a humid subtropical climate with 4 distinct seasons, hot summers and relatively mild winters. Summer highs will reach the 90s. Winter lows will dip just around freezing. The area receives 55 inches of annual rainfall on average, and that results in just really lush greenery in this ecoregion. This is a place of rich biodiversity. The red wolf shares its habitat with barred owl, featherbush, scarab beetle, black bear, swamp lily, common yellowthroat, the white-tailed deer, bald cypress trees, water moccasin, green heron, American goldfinch, river otter, resurrection fern, iris, bald eagle, possum, swallowtail butterfly, rose begonia, prairie warbler, eastern box turtle, monarch butterfly, brown-headed nuthatch, wax myrtle, raccoon, carnivorous pitcher plants, great egret, eastern cottontail rabbit, American alligator, Spanish moss, yellow-fringed orchid, fireflies, marbled salamander, and many, many more. In the dream, there are no guns. In the dream, there are no men with guns. That is all. That is the whole dream. A narrow dirt trail through thick green woods, trod by generations of the pack. A long, lingering scent of family. And no smell of man or of gun smoke. It's all a forest path, no men with guns. In the dream. The historic decline of the red wolf population stemmed from multiple overlapping anthropogenic activities. So again, it means human caused. So human encroachment is a major factor in the loss and degradation of their habitat. Extensive land clearing throughout the southeastern US for agriculture, logging, and development has drastically reduced the forests and wetlands of the red wolf's native habitat. And then from the late 18th through the early 20th century, private and government-sponsored predator control programs resulted in the widespread killing of red wolves. Wolves are often perceived as a threat to livestock and game animals, leading to their sanctioned slaughter via trapping and individual and organized hunts with firearms. Relatedly, the overhunting for both food and sport of the white-tailed deer, the red wolf's primary prey, has contributed to decline in the wolf population. Today, human-induced climate change poses an imminent threat. The red wolf's current habitat rests just 3 feet above sea level, and federal climate scientists have forecast a 2 to 7 foot sea level rise in this area of the North Carolina coast by the end of this century. But currently, the leading cause of death and population decline among wild red wolves are vehicle strikes and gunshots. So this is negligent human drivers running them over with their cars and trucks, and cowardly, small-minded human landowners with easy access to under-regulated firearms, illegally shooting them. illegally shooting them and rarely suffering any recourse. The red wolf was first listed as, quote, threatened with extinction under the Endangered Species Preservation Act of 1967. With the passage of the Federal Endangered Species Act of 1973, the red wolf's status was elevated to endangered, granting it even stronger legal protection. And at that time, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service initiated a captive breeding program. So over 400 canids were captured from the remaining wild population, but only 14 were deemed pure red wolves, and this formed the foundation of a captive breeding program. Despite these substantive efforts, the red wolf was declared extinct in the wild in 1980. But in 1987, the Fish and Wildlife Service reintroduced a small group of captive bred red wolves to the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge. And the animals began to establish territories and form packs and successfully reproduce on their own in their native habitat. This is a substantive conservation accomplishment. The red wolf was rewilded. Throughout the 1990s, the red wolf population at Alligator River Refuge steadily grew, and by the mid-2010s, the red wolf population had reached an estimated 120 individuals. Again, started from this just like 7 breeding pairs. In the last decade, though, the wild population of red wolf has been in decline due to, as mentioned, poaching and vehicle strikes. To address these issues, the Fish and Wildlife Service has attempted to intensify law enforcement efforts. They've installed wildlife crossing signs and fencing to reduce road mortality, and they've increased public outreach and education programs. Additionally, the Fish and Wildlife Service continues to maintain the captive breeding program, systematically studying, tracking, and reintroducing red wolves into the wild. I would like to share with you a few highlights from the Fish and Wildlife Service's June 2024 Red Wolf Recovery Program update. I found this report really moving. So I compiled 5 entries, and I would just love to read them to you now. This is pretty much verbatim. Oh, I should note that the red wolf wild population is all tagged by numbers. So you'll hear me read these numbers off, and these are individuals in the wild packs. Okay, and so this is from the Fish and Wildlife Service's June 2024 Red Wolf Recovery Program update. Update 1. In January 2024, 4 of the wild red wolf pups, 2499 male, 2500 male, 2502 female, and 2503 female, born into the milltail family group on Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, were captured, fitted with orange collars and orange reflective material, and re-released. 2. In February 2024, a wild female red wolf, 2359 female, was captured by private trackers, but handed over to the Red Wolf Recovery Program biologists. To try and create a new breeding pair, she was placed in an acclimation pen in Pocassin Lakes National Wildlife Refuge with a male, 2443 male, born in the Endangered Wolf Center as part of the Red Wolf Captive Program. They did not have a litter, so 2359 female was released in June 2024. And for now, 2443 male will remain in the pen, and future attempts will be made to pair him with a wild female and release them if successful. 3. On February 25th, 2024, an adult wild female red wolf, this is 2538 female, was captured on private lands and added to the known population. She's estimated to be 7 years old. 4. On April 8th, 2024, a wild female red wolf, 2280 female, was captured after exhibiting uncharacteristic behavior for her, such as being visibly close to open farm field roads, acting lethargic, and appearing to have vision issues. She was diagnosed with an untreatable cancerous mass in her brain, and the decision was made to humanely euthanize her. 5. Last December, a wild female red wolf, 2413 female, was captured by Red Wolf Recovery Program biologist and placed in an acclimation pen with a male, 2444 male, born at the Endangered Wolf Center to try to encourage a new breeding pair. This was successful, and this April, the new pair had a litter of 5 pups in the acclimation pen, and they were all released in late May 2024. The family group moved a few miles away from the acclimation pen and settled in. 2444 male appeared to be transitioning well into the wild and into his role as a new father. Tragically, his life in the wild was cut way too short, and he was a vehicle strike mortality on Highway 64 on June 5th. Monitoring of 2413 female and the pups will continue, and feasible management actions will be taken to assist with the survival of the pups, if possible, after the loss of their father. Those were all selections from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's June 2024 Red Wolf Recovery Program update. There are many reasons to celebrate the Red Wolf Conservation Program as a profound and specifically species-saving success. Nevertheless, the species has been considered critically endangered on the IUCN Red List since 1996, and their population is still in decline. Our most recent counts estimate that less than 20 red wolf remain in the wild. Information for today's show about the red wolf was compiled from the Journal of Heredity, Volume 109, Issue 5, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the National Wildlife Federation, the Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute, the Journal of Biological Conservation, Volume 262, October 2021, from the IUCN, and from Wikipedia. So in a moment, I would like to perform some music in hopes of opening a space to be in contemplation of the other lives with whom we share our earth. I want to specify that this music is not for the red wolf. I don't want to think of the red wolf as a vessel from which I extract meaning or put meaning upon. And so instead, I want this music to express my awe at this rewilded, gorgeous social being, and as a means to consider my relationship to other life, and in particular, life like the red wolf who nears extinction. So I'll create and sit in the space of sound, of awe, and of contemplation, and I warmly invite you to join me. I honor the life force of the red wolf. I am committed to keeping its human name in my record. I am grateful to have shared time on our small bright planet with this remarkable being. I lament the ways in which I and my species have harmed and diminished the species. And so, in the name of the red wolf, I pledge to reduce my consumption and my carbon footprint and curb my wastefulness. I pledge to acknowledge and attempt to address the costs of my actions and inactions. And I pledge to resist the harm of any plant or animal kin or their habitat by corporations and governments. I pledge my song to the witness and memory of all life and to a broad celebration of biodiversity and to the total liberation of all beings. This has been Bad at Goodbyes. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let's take care of each other and all of our kin. Bye.